Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a video for you all regarding this year's E3 that just happened this past weekend. It just ended this past Monday, and I wanted to get a video out to you all on my thoughts on what I thought about E3 and some of the games that interested me and what you could be looking forward to on this channel in the future from what I could be playing. So I want to first let you all know, again, as always, if you are new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. It would help support my channel in every way. And comment down below, what did you guys all think about this year's E3? Did you like what you saw, or did you not like what you see? Or if you're kind of in the middle and you're kind of both ways of what, was presented from E3 this year, from a lot of the games that were showcased, I would love to hear it. So comment down below and let me know. Let's get right into it. So, there's going to be a bunch of games that I'm going to talk about, and there's going to be a lot of games that I'm not going to talk about. So, a bit of a disclaimer to start off. I want to say by saying this. There were more games in this year's E3 that did not interest me versus games that did interest. I'm going to be talking about a couple of games from this year's E3 that did interest me, and other than that, everything else was just stuff that I just didn't have any taking in and interested in because they just don't appease to me. And a lot of that stuff was the more smaller indie games that, a lot of people don't really look forward to a lot when it comes to these kinds of conferences. They're more here for the bigger stuff. And granted, I know those smaller indie games are probably going to be good and they should get attention, but for somebody like me, I just didn't have any appeal for them at all. So starting out with a lot of this stuff, and also a lot of those games, there are a few big games that I'm not interested in either. It's not just smaller and indie games that I didn't have any interest in. Games like Elder Scrolls, for example, Elden Ring, and games like Among Us that were shown off. I have no interest in any of those games. I've never played a game like them in my life. And so those are going to be some more bigger games that I'm not going to be talking about just because, again, I've never played a game like an Elden Ring, which is more of a Dark Souls-like game. So I won't be talking about that. But when it comes to all the games that were shown off that I did like and from what I saw, we're going to start off with Battlefield. Now, I'm sure you're probably all like, oh, another Battlefield talking? Like, you're talking Battlefield again? Yes, Battlefield was shown off in this E3 again, and this time we got gameplay. It just wasn't a reveal trailer this time. It was gameplay. We got it finally. And I have to say, I absolutely love what I saw. This gameplay is off the charts. I loved the gameplay for Battlefield 2042. It looks amazing. It looks like so much fun. It looks like everything that I've wanted for years now from a game. And so there's not really much to say here because it was a gameplay trailer. It wasn't a gameplay reveal as far as showing off raw gameplay, like straight gameplay from somebody actually playing the game. It was a trailer showing off pre-alpha gameplay. So that's not really the finalized version of what the game's going to look like. So take that with a grain of salt. But with that in mind, I did still love what I saw, pre-alpha or not. It looked really good, and it looked like fun, which is all I wanted and all I needed. Next game we're going to be talking about is Halo Infinite. Now, these two games, in my opinion, Battlefield 2042 and Halo Infinite, were probably the biggest ones shown off in this year's E3 as far as big IPs. And Halo Infinite, I was very worried about. I was very worried about what Halo Infinite could be bringing, especially after last year's reveal, which not a lot of people took a liking to. They delayed the game an entire year and probably did a lot of fixing up. And I have to say, the game, after seeing the multiplayer reveal, I liked what I saw. I'll just say it. I really did like what I saw. I did have a couple of nitpicks with some other stuff that was shown off with Halo. But other than that, I have to say I really did like it. I did like what I saw. The multiplayer looks crisp. It looks like a mix of older and newer Halos combined, which I'm all here for considering I'm somebody who has grown up on the more newer stuff. I wasn't around during the old days when stuff like Halo 2 and Halo 3 were out. I didn't grow up with those games. I grew up with games like Halo 4 and Halo 5, which have only just come out within the last, 10 years. I mean, those are the I mean, those games at this point are considered old because of how long it's been since they've both come out. But yeah, I like what I saw, and of course the campaign. The campaign being the campaign, it's just going to be about Master Chief again, which again, that's what people want. People love Master Chief, and I'm totally here for that. So I'm excited for that campaign. I'm excited for that multiplayer. It looks good. It's going to be free to play, which is nice. A good touch on that by 343 Industries. So Halo Infinite, I'm liking. It's coming out in December. At least I think it's coming out in December. I know they said holiday 2021, but I think it's going to be coming around Thanksgiving/Christmas time. So look out for that one. I will definitely be playing that and posting it to the channel when it first releases. Now, moving on is Far Cry 6. That's the next game we're going to be talking about. I did like what I saw from Far Cry 6. I have been waiting for this game for a long time, and I think this is the best looking Far Cry game that we've had since Far Cry 4, which was the last Far Cry game that I played. And a game to this day that I absolutely adore. Far Cry 4 is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I love that game so much. I remember the days where I would always get home from school and just hop on that game with my buddy, and we would just constantly play it. It was so much fun, and the memories are still there. Obviously, I don't play it anymore because there's really no need to. It's such an old game at this point. There have been so many other Far Cry games that have come out since then, and basically every game from Far Cry that has come out since Far Cry 4, I haven't played because they just haven't looked interesting to me. And also, times have changed. My life is getting, I'm getting older. Times are changing. I don't have all the time in the world to play these types of games. Not to say that these games in any way take up a lot of time during my day, It's just that, and obviously the quality of what these games brought didn't appease to me either. So, or I should not appeal to me either. So there was that as well. But this new Far Cry game, Far Cry 6, it looks like Far Cry 4 to me. And that's why I'm interested and why I'm definitely going to get it come October when it first releases. And that was another game that got delayed. And I'm sure they probably did some fine tuning. And the only problem I had with what Far Cry 6 has shown is that the graphics for cutscenes look really bad. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'll just say it for what it is. The gameplay graphics look good, but the cutscene graphics did not look good. They looked like very old graphics, like older Far Cry graphics from like older games campaigns. They did not look good. I don't know why they made it look like that. Maybe it was just a game design decision. I don't know, but that was my only real major problem with Far Cry 6 from what they've shown off. But other than that, I'm excited. Next game is Back 4 Blood. Now, this is a game that very much appeals to me, being a zombies fan. I'm a guy who loves zombies. And if you know Back 4 Blood, you know it's coming right from the developers of the Left 4 Dead franchise. And I have to say, you say that immediately, and I'm all in. Left 4 Dead 2 is one of the best games I've ever played from a fun standpoint. It's just pure fun. Left 4 Dead 2 is pure awesome. I loved playing that game back in the day. Haven't played it in a long time either. That's another game that I haven't recently played, and just it feels like forever since I touched that game. I was much younger when I first played it, and I wasn't really allowed to play it. I kind of had to sneak my way around playing Left 4 Dead because it is a very violent game, very gory, very brutal, very violent. It's everything that a mature rated game was like that you would have to sneak around to try playing. So I'm excited for Back 4 Blood. It looks like a modernized Left 4 Dead with a variance of differences from what Left 4 Dead did versus what Back 4 Blood is doing, and that's fine. If they do different things and they work, I'm all here for that. So I like what I'm seeing for Back 4 Blood. That's another game that's coming out in October. So October could be a busy month when it comes to that kind of stuff. So just make sure you guys look out for that. Now, the last game that I wanted to talk about. Now, yeah, this is the last game. I know this is going to come off as weird from a lot of people. It's like, really? Only 5 games interested you out of the multitude of like 30 plus games that were shown off? And again, guys, there's a reason for that. There's just not a lot of stuff that interests me when it comes to a standpoint of what I could be playing long term. Like when we look at games like Forza Horizon 5, for example, I'm just not into racing games anymore. I haven't played a racing game in almost 6 to 7 years at this point, at least. It's been a very long time since I played a racing game thoroughly, anyway. Kind of like sports games. I haven't played a sports game in almost 6 to 7 years thoroughly, like for months and months on end. It's been so long. And that's only because the games have gotten repetitive. They are the same thing every year at this point, and there's just not much to them. It's just a different team, different year. Different players on different teams, different year kind of thing. It's like there's not much appease to them. And a game like Elder Scrolls, I've never played Elder Scrolls. It's not a game that interests me, kind of like Elden Ring. Never played a Dark Souls game in my life. And that's what Elden Ring is. It's just you're not going to get my attention for those kinds of games. And then everything else, as I mentioned earlier, are more smaller indie games that are more story driven and that would take a lot of time out of my day to want to play. And I just don't have that time anymore. I just don't have the time in my days to play these story driven games to an extent to where I would be able to get it to you guys to watch quick enough. And I mean, I'm hoping that maybe this YouTube thing that I'm doing right now can be something that I do long term down the line, and that I get enough support that I can keep doing this from years on out. And I just hope that you guys can keep supporting me through it, and more newer people can, come along and join in on the fun that I want to bring to this channel. So, yeah. But with that being said, the last game I did want to talk about from E3 this year was Starfield, which is the newest Bethesda game that is basically an open world game in space. Is essentially the generalization of what I can tell this game is going to be. It's an open world space game, and as soon as I hear that, I hear hell yes, that's coming from me. I love space. I love anything that has to do with space and anything like entertainment wise, movies, TV shows, video games, anything space related. And you guys know I'm a lover of Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. That takes place in space. There's just anything that relates to space is all the interest to me. And obviously the game is not coming out for another year and a half, so we didn't really get anything concrete other than like a teaser, which I'm totally fine with. I don't think they're ready to show off gameplay yet. I saw a lot of people complaining that they needed to show gameplay, and it's like they don't have any reason to show you gameplay when the game is more than likely not fully finished yet, and they're not ready to show off gameplay. You got to give them time and be more reasonable about it. So those were the games, guys, that piqued my interest. Other than that, like, there was nothing else that really did show any level of interest in me. Like, there is one other game that I have a feeling at some point I might buy because of the fact that it is such a cathartic and like relaxing game to play, which is Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's a game that's only PC based right now, that is getting an Xbox release in July, I think it was the date announced. That game looks like a fun, relaxing game to play, to just sit back and relax and, like, not really worry about too much. That might be a game I get just because of the fact of those reasons. It's kind of like a Minecraft in a way. It's just a game that you can sit back and relax and enjoy and not have to, like, worry about, like, anything that you're doing in the game. And, I might buy that down the line. I mean, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's not much really to say about the game other than the fact that all you do in the game is fly planes and jets and all that kind of stuff. That's really what you do. So other than that, guys, I don't really have much to say. Again, I hope you guys will, hear me out on what I had to say. Comment down below. Again, as I said earlier, comment down below. What did you think about this year's E3? PlayStation wasn't here either in this year's E3, which was a massive blow to the showcase. If PlayStation had been there, it probably would have been a lot bigger. But, me being an Xbox guy, PlayStation didn't really matter to me anyway. So it's not like it would have done much in the long run. But, there wasn't really much to talk about. I'm sure I would be talking about a lot more had PlayStation shown up, or any other developers for that matter. I mean, EA wasn't there either. So, I mean, technically EA was there because Battlefield is still under EA. But that was the only thing, though. And, I can't really say much more than that other than those 5 to 6 games that I mentioned that did pique my interest. If there were any other games that you guys saw that did pique your interest, comment down below and let me know so that we can have a conversation about it. Again, keep it respectful and nice. And other than that, guys, again, if you are new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate that very much. And other than that, yeah, I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.